We are a month into this year's NBA season, and today I just want to talk about it a little bit. Let's summarize it, let's review it, whatever you want to call it. But before we do get into that, go ahead and drop a sub for your boy if you are new. If you're not new, you already know what to do. Drop a like on this video, and do me a favor, go into the comments and let me know what you think about the first month of the NBA season. With that dumb stuff out the way, let's get into it. So first off, the West is in mayhem right now. The seeds 1 through 10 right now, they're separated by two games. That's seeds top to number 10. That's pretty much top to bottom because there's only 5 teams outside of that, or 4 teams outside of that, something like that. But regardless of anything else, we're not really seeing any separation in the West. But if history has told us anything, and if you guys have been basketball watchers for a while, you would know, we don't see separation between the seeds and the different records till about January, February time. This first half of the season normally is good basketball by literally every team, but eventually we start to get to a point where either teams start to fade away, injuries begin to happen, or certain players start to drop off. Normally that happens with the younger players because the younger players, they don't know how to pace themselves on an 82 game stretch. But so far we have seen pretty tight-knit Western Conference right now. Right now my Lakers are playing a lot better than they started out the year. They've won 5 of their last 6 games, and of course I would love to, and I can talk about the Lakers forever in this video, but I got to do another uncut opinions for that. Look out for that video because I don't really want to spend too much time on the Lakers in this video. Now, another team in the same division of the Lakers is Portland. They are a lot better than a lot of us thought coming into the year. This is attributed to Anthony Simons coming into his own. He's averaging just under 25 points this year. He's been hooping for them, and one thing that's helped them this year is that Damian Lillard hasn't had to play Superman in times where CJ McCollum's out or the other scorer is out. This year he's been able to actually take a back seat where Anthony Simons, sometimes he comes and controls the pace of the game as opposed to Dame doing it. Another key contributor to that team that kind of went under the radar when they picked him up was Jeremy Grant. He seems to have found a nice fit and a nice home in Portland. What they do is perfect for his game, so that's something that I love to see because I've always been a Jeremy Grant fan ever since he's been in Denver with the Nuggets. Even when he was with the Pistons last year, he was a very good player, but him being in Portland now, it looks like it's a good fit for him, and I love that for him. Even though I did want him to sign with the Lakers a few years back, I think it was after our bubble championship where he signed with the Pistons, but regardless, it's cool to see he's doing his thing. He's found a home, and Portland, they're doing their thing in the West. Now, if we go a couple miles down south to the capital of California, Sacramento, the Kings are on a 7-game win streak right now, and I hate to say this, it hurts my soul to say this, and it's crazy to say this because I don't think this has been said since the early 2000s, but the Kings are the best team in California right now. The Lakers are struggling, the Warriors are struggling, and the Clippers are struggling. Now, what's weird about the Clippers is I feel like they could avoid a lot of their struggles if Kawhi actually played. I understand he was hurt, so he was out this last game due to injury, but when is he not hurt? Honestly, like, it seems like when he's healthy he's not playing, when he's hurt he's not playing. Obviously you're not going to play when you're hurt, but when you're healthy and it seems like you're healthy, you're in street clothes every other game, you should be on the court. But regardless of anything else, the Kings are the best team right now, and the Kings being the best team right now isn't a fluke the way the Jazz are a fluke. I wholesomely believe the Jazz are a fluke right now. They're not gonna keep on this same pace that they're on. They're a pretty good team and they play good team ball, but over these last couple games I've watched them specifically. I didn't watch them while they were on their run, but these last couple games I did watch them, and they're not that good of a team. They're really not, and I kind of want to make a longer video on it, but I honestly don't know how I'm gonna do that. We'll figure that out. But regardless of anything else, the Jazz remind me of what the Pittsburgh Steelers were 2 years ago when they started out 10-0 and then they got to the playoffs and got dog walked. Same with the Cowboys a few years ago. They got into the playoffs, they got a bye going into the playoffs and got dog walked in their first game. So that's pretty much how you can explain this Utah Jazz team. Now, like I said, they're on a pretty good run, but I don't think they're going to keep that end of the bargain when it comes to staying at the top of the West. The West has some heavy hitters. It's going to be very hard for the Jazz to maintain this the whole year. Now, at the time of this recording, the Jazz are at the top of the West with, I believe, 11 wins or 12 wins, one of the two. What's crazy is they could lose and go from 1st seed down to 8 or 9 seed with the snap of a finger. And I predict it'll happen, but time time will tell. Now, to end the West portion of this video, the West is pretty competitive so far, but like I said, beginning of the year is normally like that. But I think the Suns, Nuggets, Grizzlies, and Pelicans, they're gonna stand true in the top 5 as they are right now. Obviously, I think Utah's gonna drop off. I think Portland will stay about where they are. I'm excited to see what the Lakers do. The Lakers have been playing a lot better. Like I said, they've won 5 of their last 6, though that 5 came against lower level teams, one of them being the Nets. It still is something to build off of, and they've been playing a lot better. Austin Reeves has been doing his thing. LeBron just came back. Russell Westbrook has been doing his thing. I think AD is missing the next game, but I don't think it's due to injury. I think it's just an off day. But regardless of anything else, they've been playing a lot better. The West is going to be exciting for the rest of the year. I hope the Kings actually do keep up how they're playing, because it's always interesting and fun to see the West rivalries, especially the California rivalries. The last couple years, we haven't really seen that competitiveness. We've seen the Warriors dominate the Pacific. We've seen the Lakers, I don't want to say dominate, but they won. Truth be told, over the last couple of decades, it has been the Lakers and Warriors to dominate that Pacific division. Sure, the Clippers did at one point in time, but they weren't really winning, and their window closed pretty fast when the Warriors came up and their dynasty was doing what it was doing. I almost forgot to talk about the Timberwolves, because that is one of the teams that I was excited to watch. I don't really like Rudy Gobert, but I did think he was gonna complement Karl-Anthony Towns very, very well. And I think it would actually help open up the floor for Anthony Edwards, because him and Rudy Gobert could play the pick and roll game while Cat is on the perimeter. And if Anthony Edwards gets cut off on the drive, he could either lob it to Gobert. If Gobert doesn't have the lob, he would have Cat on the far help side, because his help defender is coming over to stop Rudy Gobert from lobbing it. And I thought that was gonna be their bread and butter all year, but obviously that has not been the case. The paint has been too packed for this team. They're playing very selfish basketball. Rudy Gobert has actually been playing very well. Cat, he's been okay on one night or the other. And Anthony Edwards, he can't really find his stride. He's been saying how the paint is clogged himself, where he tries to look to drive, but he can't really drive because you got 2 giants literally in the paint. If this team could change to actually do a more inside out game with Cat sitting on the help side, it would probably prove beneficial for them. But this short time into the season, the way they're playing, it's pretty alarming. We did see worse things. We saw Boston turn it around last year late at the end of the year and make a run all the way to the finals. So time could tell, you never know. I just think the Timberwolves, I don't think they got it. I don't know what it is, but it's just, the team is off. It seems like a lot of young guys that play selfishly. It looks like more of the same immaturity that they had a few years back, including last year in the playoffs. And that's just rearing its ugly head, and it's staying here. Moving over to the Eastern Conference. Now the East is low-key in mayhem like the West as well, but the only difference between the East and the West is the East actually seems to have 2 teams that are at the top that seem to be the competitors, the contenders in that conference. Those 2 teams would be the Celtics and Bucks. Now I would say the Cavs are coming up close to being in that contender status, but they did lose their last 4, but I'll touch on them in a second. Now with the Celtics and Bucks, I feel like they're clearly the 2 best teams in the East. The Celtics, they seem to not miss Ime Udoka in his absence. They're picking up right where they're left off. The Bucks, they started out 9-0 and were playing amazing basketball even without Chris Middleton. So those 2 teams are going to be something to watch for. They're going to be elite by the time the end of the season comes, barring injury or any of some unforeseen circumstances. But those 2 teams are the teams to watch right now in the East with regards to being at the top. Now, one of my favorite teams that I've been watching lately that I did a video on a couple months back, but the Raptors, they're a sleeper team I really enjoy watching this year. Most of their main guys were out a couple nights ago, and they actually beat Dallas in doing that. They had no Scotty Barnes. I'm not sure if they had Siakam, and I don't think they had Father Fred, but they still came out with the win, and they're a very good team. They still play team basketball like they did when Kawhi was there. They're younger guys that were young when Kawhi was there. They're starting to mature and play great basketball. So they're a very good team to watch. Now the Bulls and the Heat, they're not looking too good in the East right now. I don't know if they have to get their legs running or something like that. The Bulls are shorthanded. As we know, they don't have Lonzo Ball, but regardless, they still do have 2 all-stars. They have Vooch on their team, and they have Caruso. Now Vooch, it depends on the day what you're gonna get from him. DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine have been doing their thing. Alex Caruso, he doesn't contribute much on the offensive end. He's a great defender, but regardless, they need to figure it out. Same with the Heat. It's more of the same. They kind of mirror each other in the sense that they lose in some boneheaded ways in a way that you are dumbfounded by how they lost by the time the end of the game comes. And another team that I'm not really going to touch on too much, but the Pacers. They're a surprise team. I think many people thought they were going to tank. They thought they were going to blow it up, trade guys away. But now that I'm looking at it and I actually watch the team from time to time, they have a pretty good team that they built in Indiana, and I don't know why any of us didn't see it. They're very fun to watch with Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and Miles Turner. Benedict Mathurin is going crazy. He could be a dark horse for Rookie of the Year. I'm sure Paolo Banchero is still gonna win it, but Benedict Mathurin, if he could keep up this level of play, he might threaten Paolo Banchero on actually getting that Rookie of the Year. So look out for him. Keep watching him, because I know a lot of people didn't know who he was. If you don't know and you want to know more about him, my video on him is in the card above, so go ahead and click on that after this. Another team in the East that looks serious that I already mentioned before are the Cavs. DG and Donovan Mitchell right now look like the best backcourt, while Allen and Mobley, they look like a top 3 front court. Now I can't say they're the best because there are other teams in there that are pretty good. Now I don't know if you would consider Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum a front court. I guess their backcourt and front court balances each other perfectly, so I can't really say one's the best overall, or else I would. If I could put Jason Tatum at power forward and Jaylen Brown at small forward, I would say they're the best front court. But regardless, Allen and Mobley are a top 3 front court in the league. They might be the best, I'm not sure. But regardless, watch out for them. Like I said, they are on a 4-game losing streak, but I know they didn't have Donovan Mitchell for 1 or 2 of those games, and they weren't really bad losses. They were just one of those you hit a snug in the grass kind of thing, whatever that fucking means. Now the Sixers, this is a team that I personally made a video on that said might be a favorite in the East. Now I'm probably eating my words, or I'm speaking too soon. They look like Harden's Rockets from old, just with Embiid added. Of course, they brought a lot of guys from that Rockets team anyway. They still have the same GM. It's literally like they brought one program from Houston up to Philly. That's literally what they're playing like, what it looks like. PJ Tucker as of late has been getting a lot of cardio in because he ain't been hooping. Harden did hurt his foot, so that does contribute to them not really doing too well. He's out for some time. I think it was about 2 months. I can't recall exactly, but regardless, I did make a TikTok regarding his foot injury, and the one main thing I worried about, not necessarily the team and how well they're due. What I'm worried about is his health and cardio and fitness coming back, because when you have a broken foot, there's no way for you to get cardio in. We already know Harden does struggle with his weight, or he doesn't care, one or the other. But regardless, the fact that he can't get any cardio in, that could make for us seeing a different Harden coming back, and he might have to get into his stride a little bit longer than it takes most. Overall, in the league in its entirety, it's too early for us to see what teams are serious and what teams are unserious, but regardless, we've had some great basketball in this first month of the NBA season. Keep looking out for the Lakers, even though we won 5 of the last 6. Like I said, they were against lower level teams, so let's keep an eye out, see if they continually improve. Not every loss is a bad loss, though my competitive spirit tells me not to ever say that, because that's crazy, but it is true. In an 82-game season, some losses aren't bad losses. Some losses are formidable losses that you need to turn that corner. Same with every other team in the league. A lot of teams, it just takes that one loss or maybe that one win to turn things around. Lastly, and this is what I'm going to end off on, if you haven't been watching Cavs or Raptors games, I mentioned this before, go watch their games. I know both of those teams are technically smaller market, not Toronto, but the Cleveland Cavaliers definitely are. Go watch them. You'll thank me later, because both of them are the 2 most exciting teams for me as of right now. I like watching both of their teams with their young guys and the way they play ball. But that's all I got for you guys in this video. Of course, like I said before, if you are new, go ahead and drop that subscribe, because a lot of you that are watching are not subscribed. I look at my analytics. I know, trust me, a lot of you are not subscribed. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. It takes 2 seconds. And if you're not new, you already know what to do. Leave a comment for your boy about the first month of the NBA season. And until next time, it's your boy TB with the greatest hoop stories and debates on the tube. The greatest. And I'm out. Peace.